Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. It's the Entrepreneurs here, and today what we'll be doing is we'll be continuing our Investing with Max series. If you guys have not watched the previous video, I highly suggest you guys go watch that now. As a disclaimer, this is just for educational purposes only, and if you're looking for financial advice, I highly suggest you seek out a registered financial advisor. That makes sense? Let's get started. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. So it's gonna be this one there. All right. Around, so I'm in a different computer today. That's why you'll probably see me face forward. Normally it's on the side or on the left or right, but yeah, today head straight on. So yeah, the last few weeks has been pretty active for the cannabis space for MJ. It's pretty crazy because there's a lot of news that might be going on, especially at the end of September to October. So I'll show you that later on. But what we're gonna be doing today is we'll be looking at Rip Capital, Lifest, BLGB, Weed, ACB, and Tilray. Then we'll go from there. Okay. So you can see here for Rip Capital, the last trading day was actually a green day, and it's at 16 cents. Before that, it actually hit the 20 cents. You can see from this charting here, and the last close was at it was up 6.67%, then up 1 cent there, and you can see here that the volume had pretty much picked up early September. So you can see around September, the end of August, the volume started to really pick up, and lots of volume. And you can see just 1 day volume. Look at this, guys. On September 5th, it had 209 a volume, and the ones prior to that was just less than like 4K, 3K, 1K, but that made a huge difference when it started, the volume started to pick up. So right now you can see the support and resistance. The latest, it did hit the support and it broke that. So you can see here that around I would say 15 cents, 15 and a half is the support, but it broke that, so that could be the new resistance. And you can see here that if it just keeps going down, then it might even hit the 10 cents for its new support and resistance. But it's a big gap, and we'll see if it can break it to next week and go above the support, then hit the support and resistance again, because you can see here that it did hit the high of on September 5th, that it hit a high of 22 cents, low of 16 cents. So that was a pretty big jump. So it was around, it closed at 18.75 cents, so 3 cents, right? All right, so yeah, we're looking at that. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But the volume has picked up for sure, and that's a good sign that there's a lot of interest in Rip Capital. All right, so let's look at here. If I go to Rip Capital, click on this, there's a lot of chatter going on now. And you can see one of them says on the 5th, so this is when it peaked. It says it's alive. Somebody said that. Then yeah, you can see that Rip Capital, formerly Canopy Rivers, just filed a new CRR document, so you can click on that and see what's going on. But the latest update was Rip Capital financial report is this one here, and yeah, not much compared to the other stocks that I'm going to be showing you. There's a lot of activity, but yeah, still pretty active. Okay, let's look at the next one is Lifest. You can see here it's a little bit choppy, right? So let me see if I can go to day out, 5-day one. Choppy. Yeah, look at how choppy it is. Right, so yeah, you can see here that for Lifest, you can see that it was up 25%, up 0.5 cent. But this actually, when it was around the September peak, it didn't peak compared to the big threes like Tilray, ACB, and Weed. But yeah, it was, September, it was in this range around the 2.5 cents and low of 1.5 cents. So it's just been hovering around this area where it's like the support is 1.5 and the resistance is around 2.5. So the volume is not really telling. It's pretty choppy, as you can see here. But yeah, the volume did pick up around, I would say the fifth here. Not compared to the other ones. The fifth is like, 267. But yeah, the next day it was pretty low. It was at 98. But the next day, 521. The next trading day of that, which is on the 11th, it did pick up to 2.717 mil. Then it just kept on going up. Then now it's gradually going down again. And the last trading day, the volume was at 568, so half a mil. But yeah, like when this stock was super volatile back in days, it was hitting like a couple mil a day. So it's not like that right now. So I'm not seeing any huge volatility. But we'll see what happens in the next week's news that coming up. Okay, so that's Lifest, and let's look at what people are saying under CEO.ca. So Lifest. So TSX Venture Exchange Stock Maintained Bulletin, Newswire Venture Exchange Stock Maintained Bulletin. Then you can see one of them is Lifest, News Mining, so forth. Then somebody said, I see what you mean now. Green close, I'll take it. Focus on profitable growth only with royalty, relax, and said concentrates in the B2B and B2C space only, survive without dilution long enough to demonstrate profitability, and share price will start to move. Let's go, many. Green close, I'll take it. And he said here, please somehow how you interpret life is. So some people are saying buy, come on, many, brilliant, I am just speechless. And this was on the 22nd, so last trading day. You didn't catch my phone, you talking about So yeah, people are just chattering. Before, this board was super dead in summertime, but now a lot more people are talking. Okay, let's move on to the next. BLGB. BLGB is still pretty choppy as well. The resistance is around the 1 cent, 2 cents is the resistance, 1 cent is the support, and it's just been hovering around that time. Summertime, you can see that it was at 3 cents and 3.5, then it just kept on going down ever since, the end of summer. BLGB, let's take a look. What people are saying. Click on that, and so the last, here message was on the 10th, and he will pump it again, but who knows when that will be. He's from this company, so yes, I'm ready. BLGB. Okay, so just a new news release. But yeah, nothing too major. Alright, let's move on to the next one. So now this is the exciting part. All three of these have been very volatile in the last week or two, and you can see that major jump, right? So like the beginning of September, it had a pretty huge uptick, and I would say the end of August, that's when really it started. So I would say the 29th, it was a green day. Volume was 1.36 mil, and the next day it had 10.76 mil. And the following day it had 31 mil, then it just kept on gradually going up, and this is where the peak was on September 11th, which was 38.64 mil. And if you do look at, so this is, I'm looking at the TSX, and if you look at the CGC, basically under NASDAQ, it had I think 200 plus million shares traded in that one day, so it was insane. And so yeah, you can see that this was the major peak. Then the following day, it was a red day, so it had 31.45 mil. Then it just kept on going to that new support resistance. They tried to maintain it, but it didn't, so it broke that support resistance here, where you can see that the resistance around 175, then the support is around 140. Then it did break that, and once it did break that, and the last trading day, you can see that there's new support resistance here. So we're looking at around the 85 cents, but psychologically, I want to say that the new support and resistance is below $1. Like the support would be $1, So I'll just highlight that here. So it's gonna be $1, right? So that's the psychological support. If we can maintain the $1, then move on to the next resistance, which is around 140, and break that and go to the new support resistance again, where the next week might be pretty interesting. It's gonna be a lot of volatility for sure, because there's a lot of things going on next week, and I'm hoping to see a positive news out of that, and we might see an uptick again. So it did retract back, and we'll see if the volume starts to pick up again. This will probably go up again, as like what we saw here. And if I go to eo.ca, look at weed, and yeah, so like at one point I saw like people that were online here. I think there was like 100 people at one time when it was on its peak, and it was pretty insane because this board was pretty much dead all summer. Then everybody's started coming and looking at what's going on here, and putting their opinions out. So yeah, you can see here, don't discount the negative impact of the reverse stock split. Monday they are voting to approve one. So if they're going to approve it, so that's negative news if they do a stock split, because right now it's below $1 under CGC at Nasdaq. And if they do that, what's gonna happen is they want to be above $1 because of the compliance issue. So here is a good one. So somebody just broke it down, and this is what they said. Next week is going to be volatile. Lots of topics that will evolve next week and into October. You can see BP update, September 25th meeting, vote summary, DEA to announce their position on double HS recommendation. September 27th, Safer Banking Act markup. So this is going to be interesting. September 27th, so next week, next year. And here, U.S. federal cannabis legalization topics hitting the headlines. Canopy USA building their USA presence. Then here's a link to it. And Canopy Growth Corporation path to profitability continues. So just to kind of like break it down. So yeah, you can see like a lot of chatter in this board now. Before it's super dead, but a lot of people are talking here. So pretty interesting. I noticed that if a lot of people are talking in a board like this, then there's a lot of hype and a lot of pumping going on, right? So yeah, pretty interesting that weed is getting some traction again. And also what you can see here is last trading day it was up 8.65%, and it's at $1.13, the change of 0.09 for weed. So let's see what's gonna happen. I'm hoping that it might be a green day next week, and also it can push up. And if there is good news, we might see new higher highs for this year. And we could see here that it's been on a downtrend for quite some time, right? So at one point on December last year, see here that it did peak at around $6.44. So and look at the volume, and the volume here was 7.75 mil, compared to here, which there is like 38 million shares traded in one day. So that's pretty insane volume, right? So definitely watch out for that. Lots of interest going on. For ACB, following the same pattern as weed as well. So it did have on September 5th, 4th, 11th. So here September 11th had 21 mil traded. It was at 76 cents. Then after that, it hit a high of $1.27. Then you can see on the right side there, it was up 53 cents. So 73.61% in one day, guys. One day, that's super insane, right? Then it did hit the next day. It was a green day, and it did hit $1.55 of a high, and it was up 3 cents. So pretty insane gains for one day. The volume started to pick up as per usual, and we'll see what's gonna happen in the next week and the following week. So it's gonna be interesting. Lots of volatility that's going to happen, and I'll be watching. ACB, so 34 new messages. So right now it's above $1, so 102. And you can see here we shall see towards the end of the day. ACB bulls hibernating till next week, I guess. Some people are saying sell. Here's 7 report. Yeah, so lots of chatter here as well. So very interesting. And if we look at the support resistance, so you can see here that the support resistance right now, looking at 110, and also resistance around, the support around, you can see here it's around 85 cents, but I'm going to grab this because I love the psychological. So 1 cent should be. Yeah, there you go. 1 cent. All right. So that would be, it did. You can see that the day before that one, it did touch it and went below, and it went up back up there. So if we can maintain the 1 cent next week, we might see a new support resistance there. Okay, let's look at Tilray. So Tilray, kind of the same with ACB with weed. You can see the major uptick on September 11 too. You see the volume at 6 mil, and the one that before that one on the 31st on August, 6.47 mil, and it had a 10% increase. But it looks like Tilray did have a head start of seeing the green day, and it didn't really get beaten up as bad as ACP and weed. And you can see that there was some gap down, then there was a gap up, so it filled that gap prior. Then it now it's trading in this new resistance, and yeah, it's just hovering away, but the volume here is significant, so just definitely take a look at what's going on there. But it's been how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red days. So this is probably oversold. So we might see, a reversal, especially for next week. If there's going to be some good news, we might see the next following trading days, green days, right? Just because it's oversold. All right. So in Tilray here, you can see Tilray. So it did have news on September 21st. That Tilray brand Inc. to announce first quarter 2024 financial result on October 4th. So that's coming up. So the following week, and also had news about Tilray best-selling beers make landfall at Atlantis, Bahamas. And it says here, no way shorts are gonna put this going into next week. I look into the company that did the short report, pretty shitty company that has a reputation of making bad calls. But yeah, so that's what's happening with Tilray. Very interesting. It is holding up over $1, so it is Nasdaq compliant in terms of the SP. So this is the TSX, but if you look at Tilray in Nasdaq, it's above $1, and they don't have to do any reverse split or anything like that. I know for weed, they're gonna vote on it next week, so we'll see what the outcome would be. Because what I see in majority of the time, if they do vote on it and they bring the stock up, then eventually it goes down again. But yeah, that's pretty much it. What I have for this, analysis. But next week, the end of September to October, I think it's gonna be very interesting. And as per usual, I'll show you guys here. It's super red, been red for quite some time now. You can see in here unrealized gain or loss, negative 13,653, so negative 90.51% unrealized loss. And you can see Lifest is down basically 12,689 and 82 cents, negative 91 and 77 cents. And Rev Capital is down 872 and 35 cents on 86.10%. So yeah, so that's it for this week. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Comment down below. But until next time, see you later. Bye bye.